social media as well. Okay. Good deal.
Guntry.
Gunter.
Gunter.
And I think the other thing a lot of people don't realize too, we do we're politicians and we also have full-time careers. We still work our full-time jobs.
Now that part, because I remember Sherry Washington. She's
She's a lawyer. So we also do I'm a college professor. I just happen to be off today.
Oh, that worked
doing
out.
Other things, but doing my other interviews. But yeah, we all have full-time careers.
Okay.
And politicians are part-time employees.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I know Sherry said she was doing a case out of state or out of town or something that came up. So I get it. Hey, y'all. We getting ready to get started. Can I
get both of you in here?
Am I in your way?
No. I'm trying to get...
You're a Delta.
I am. Oh.
Look at that.
How you know that? Anything I do right now, I'm like moving at fast speed, trying to think of everything that's going on right now.
Okay.
I'm green.
I can get both of y'all in there like that. There it is. That.
So is it on your page?
It's on my page as well.
This stream?
This is going to be on Hits 92.3, the station page.
So it's on Facebook Live? Is it Facebook Live?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
going to share that.
Okay.
Yeah,
hey, guys, I'm going to share another link.
Yep, so you got yours, I got mine.
And we go live in 1 minute.
Okay.
This clock is wrong. This clock is 3 minutes wrong. If you want to know the time,
Okay.
that's the time.
Okay.
That will throw you off in a heartbeat.
Yes.
On the 15, you have to take your break. But what I will do is I will just signal to you that you have, like 2 or 3 minutes left so that you can get ready to wrap up. We don't start with music. You come right into into your conversation.
Okay.
But just real quick, okay, because we didn't get a chance.
Yes, ma'am.
So real quick before I press start.
Yes.
I'm on this side and I gotta press these buttons.
Okay.
So wait till you see this go live before you start talking. A lot of people, as soon as they see my hand reach, they start talking. So if you say, "Hey, good morning," and then by the time I hit it, the only thing they heard was morning.
Okay. So I'm waiting for that light up.
You wait for this to light up. Same thing on this side. When I have to turn off the sound, I'm going to turn this off first because it gives a reverb, and then I'm going to turn off your mic. So don't immediately start cussing everybody out. They'll hear you.
Okay, so
don't bless out the world.
So on is on, and then when it's off, I wait till it's clear, till it's dark.
Because if you start blessing the world, they will hear you. Okay.
All
right. Hey, Graham.
Let's go. Right. The mic is hot.
And
don't say nothing crazy.
Actually, because of Facebook Live, because of the live on Instagram,
it's always hot.
So please
don't say nothing crazy.
The devil is a liar, and he'll know you telling the truth.
Okay.
All right, we're about to go ahead and get started. I'm starting your live screen.
Okay.
And
Hey, this is Sonja Gunter, live on the Sonja Gunter Show on Hits 92.3, the real definition of internet radio. How y'all doing today? Everybody good? I have in studio today with me, Commissioner Elena Sanders with Newton County. How you doing today, Miss Elena?
I am amazing. I feel great. I just had an awesome, a career day with some elementary school kids, and they just compliment me on everything. So I just want to go to elementary school again.
That's before kids got bad, ain't it? That's when kids were fun and had a good time.
When I have a bad day, I'm going to the elementary class and let them compliment me all day.
Absolutely good. And I thank you so much for your efforts and for making it here to the studio. I know that You know, you all are busy. You have your careers. You have your politics that you are doing in the counties. But I just truly, truly appreciate you coming in and joining me in studio today.
We have some,
and I believe I have Lorraine Cochran-Johnson, Commissioner from District 7, DeKalb County. Is she online?
Absolutely. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner Lorraine Cochran-Johnson. How are you?
Oh, it's a beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day. I want to thank you so much. I got your girl, Elena Sanders, here. Have y'all met in
Yes,
person?
we have. That is the Lorraine Cochran.
You better believe it.
Okay? Super District, DeKalb County.
You guys are too gracious, but Sonja, you should know better than most us ladies. We have to stick together.
That's
Yes,
right.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We do have to stick together. And I thank Lorraine as well, because every time I do anything, if she's available, if she's able, she supports. And I like to call her my friend. We're not friends. We just associates in the community. But listen, I think of her as my BFF. She don't know it yet. Huh? We friends. I can tell everybody I'm friends with Lorraine Cochran-Johnson.
We are friends, and you know the best thing about friends is we don't have to see each other often or communicate, but whatever we do, it's organic, and we just pick up where we left off.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate you being here with us today. We had also Commissioner Felicia Franklin. She couldn't make it in. I know she said she may try to call in. And if she does, that's wonderful. If not, we send our love and things to her. Again, politicians, you all are busy, and I do appreciate the efforts. So this is the first show, the Sonja Gunter Show. I'm back. Y'all, I used to have a talk show back in 2019, and I did away with it, and I took some time off, but I'm back, and I said, God, if you give me the opportunity to just get the platform back and get healthcare out to the people, it's always been my concern. It's always been my number one passion to educate the folks, the people who need it the most on the healthcare issues that are affecting us the most. And not only that, to promote healthcare businesses in the meantime. So this show is about promoting business, and you'll hear my tagline, and it says that your business is my business and healthcare is our business. So I'm also always promoting. I would love to have you as guests on my show. I will tell you how we can do that toward the end. So Miss Elena and Miss Lorraine, and I'll start with Miss Elena first, since you're our guest in-house. Tell me kind of what's going on in Newton County. What's the temperature like right now amid COVID and different things that are going on in your county?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. I know when we during the holidays, when we had that big surge, Newton was at the top of the list with the amount of COVID cases.
Oh, wow.
So I even contracted it during the holiday special, during the holiday season as well. So during COVID, we had to do different precautions. We had to do mask mandates to make sure we get those numbers down, as well as in the school system, they also put the mask mandate back on so we could protect the students.
Sure.
Because we know the students are the ones that's kind of sort of the spreaders.
Absolutely.
They're going to school with one another from the various households, and then they're bringing it back home. And it was so amazing. We've had some students even stand up before our Board of Education saying, hey, we have to do something because I have a grandmother at home, a grandfather at home, and we have to do various precautions, so I'm not bringing this back to my grandparents, that first generation. And so we want to make sure that everyone is safe. So the numbers have decreased. They're going down slowly but surely because a lot of people have already contracted it, but we still have to stay safe. I think what happened was with a lot of us that when we see those numbers go down, we become relaxed. Then all of a sudden they're climbing right back up.
Right,
so I believe that we just need to take it a little bit slower before we release all these mask mandates and so forth, and make sure that we get this COVID down where it needs to be so we can get back to some normalcy.
Absolutely. I can appreciate that. For those that don't know, I'm also a nurse. I've been a nurse for 18 years, and I work in the senior health community. And so I work amongst the most vulnerable. And I remember when this thing first happened, I was serving as an executive director at a senior community, and I lost residents that had passed to this COVID disease, and not only to the disease itself, but to the isolation that it caused. There's two conversations going on in the senior community, but I'll get on that another day. But I can definitely appreciate slowing it down just a little bit. What I think I've come to realize is that it's not going anywhere. This is COVID, just like the flu season. Every year we're going to see the uptick in numbers like we do with the flu. And then as things calm down and the people are back out, and the windows are open and there's fresh air and the numbers go back down again, you have a good spring and summer and then another surge. So buckle in. This is what it is. This is the new norm. COVID's not going anywhere. It's just not.
And the kids about to go on spring break.
And the kids are about to go on spring break.
So that's another surge that's possibly going to happen, because that's what happened last year.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And I think around summertime too, if I'm not mistaken. Right. Miss Cochran-Johnson, what's going on in DeKalb County in terms of COVID? What you got going on over there?
Well, I will say that it is cyclical. Even as, of course, Governor Kemp and others, there's movement towards, the elimination of the requirement of masks as a mandatory precaution. Our numbers too are going down at this moment.
Good.
But, as soon as we get into the summer months, you'll see that rise.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe too that everything that's been said previously is very correct. What you find now is a certain level of comfort because people, there's a vaccine. Initially there were, and there remains a lot of doubt because, this is a virus and it is very transformative.
Yes.
And I say that because thus far we've seen 2 different variants since we were first introduced to COVID. So for us at this point, now understanding that we have a mechanism to combat the virus, in DeKalb, we've had a strong push towards vaccination.
Sure.
And we have spent a large part of our $80 million in vaccination efforts.
Mm.
So here in DeKalb, I created what's called DeKalbCOVIDinfo.com.
Okay.
And anyone who wants, the most up-to-date information on the virus can always visit. And also, we have throughout the county, on literally a weekly basis, Vaccine Inc., where we are providing $100 gift cards to anyone who receives the vaccine. Not only did we do this for the general public, but we also did it for staff. We also, we included not only your first COVID vaccine, but the second, as well as the booster and for flu. So for those who could prove or didn't show their cards that they had received all 4, then they received $400. So what we've been finding is even people who were skeptical, so to speak, they feel fine when they roll away in a car, and they may take with them $1,000 or more.
Oh, wow.
And for DeKalb County, for us, when we look at the cost of hospitalization, it is a small price to pay to provide incentives. That's what we feel the money was designed to do. So we've taken a very much by any means necessary approach to getting shots in orange in DeKalb County, Georgia.
I can appreciate that. Is that kind of what you're doing as well in Newton County? Are y'all pushing the vaccines?
We have pushed the vaccine. We got the ARPA funds, and that's one of the things that we actually initiated because DeKalb was kind of one of our, I would say, skeletons that we actually looked at, one of the examples that we looked at because they are one of the larger counties.
Sure.
So because each county received a certain amount of money based on the population.
Okay.
So what we did, and thanks to Lorraine, she also gave me some of her ideas that she actually is doing in her county. Because Newton County is growing. We're moving towards a larger population, so we haven't been that proactive county.
Right.
Now that we have more citizens, we have to move towards that. So that's why I have been looking at DeKalb and Fulton and seeing where they're going, because we're moving in that direction because we have so much business coming and development. So we have more people.
Absolutely.
So that was one of the reasons why I did reach out to Lorraine and say, what are y'all doing?
Because Newton County is more rural as well, right? What cities are compromised there in Newton County?
You have Covington, Oxford, Porterdale, Mansfield, and Newton. So those are your actual areas, but it's actually not as rural as it used to be.
Gotcha.
Because my district is the largest. And it has the largest population because we're close to the Rockdale line.
Right.
And so it's growing because we have more industry. We have Facebook. You just heard about the Rivian.
Right.
We have Takeda. We have all the movies are shot. Majority of them are shot in Newton County at the studios.
Nice.
Valleys and all that. So it's growing. The population is really growing, so we have to definitely think differently than we were when we were rural. Bigger picture, out the box. Bigger picture.
Absolutely.
Completely bigger picture.
Now, Lorraine, and I want you to also think about this and later. you mentioned the skepticism, and I know in our community, being a nurse as long as I have, working in the clinics, working in, amongst the different demographic of people, I know that we are some of the most skeptical folks in healthcare, and for good reason. Let's be very clear. It's not that, we just being difficult. We have good reason to feel the way we do about healthcare, especially our past generations. But how do you educate beyond that? How do you reach that demographic and say, listen, stop with the skepticism. This is what it is. And how do you push that?
I think people now are starting to understand it because it's in front of their faces now. Mm-hmm. I have constituents who are dying who've died from this, or have loved ones that died. So they're seeing it happen in their community, right? Versus just seeing it somewhere else. Right. To give you examples, you stated he was a nurse. I have a constituent to where her husband was getting care in a home, and he caught it from the nurse. Yes. And he passed away. Very common. So you're seeing it in families now, and they're like, this is real. And people who are close to them like, okay, I need to really get vaccinated. This is a serious thing. Yes. So to educate them is to bring it to them personally and say, hey, this is what's happening, bring them statistics, show them what's going on, and then they'll understand this is a very important piece that we have to all become healthy if we want to go back to the way we used to be. Absolutely.
Miss Lorraine, I got about 30 seconds. I want your thoughts on that skepticism, and then we have to take a quick break. What are your thoughts on the skepticism in the community? How do we combat that?
Well, what we have to do is really education and public awareness. Mm-hmm. And I include generally in my newsletter PSAs that answer and debunk many of the myths that are out there. Right. Because that's exactly what they are. As it relates to the younger generation and demographic, they tend to feel that it creates some form of infertility. They're fearful of the unknown. And these are things that have been floated in our community, but there is no fact that supports those statements. So when you really put the facts out there, then, that goes a long way with, eliminating those barriers. Because the truth of the matter is, when you look at a disease that's killed over 70 million people globally, then it eradicates a case of 4 to 7 incidents that are generally, is what we found primarily, the result of underlying health issues that had nothing to do whatsoever with the vaccination itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. Ladies, we're going to come back and keep speaking with Miss Elena Sanders and Lorraine Cochran-Johnson, DeKalb County and Newton County Commissioners. Be right back.
Okay, because I forgot to play your intro. Yeah,
that's what I was waiting for.
Yeah, I know. It was because I was. I'm playing it now.
Got you.
And it still works.
Got you.
It's 92.3.
I was trying to share it. I don't know what's gonna go down.
Internet radio.
Hey y'all.
Sonja Gunter show. Your business is my business, and healthcare is our business.
It actually worked even better to start to play the intro now.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah,
it makes sense about the discussion.
Yeah,
behind the discussion.
It does. See, stuff work when I do.
It does. It works.
My mistakes is great. Yeah, and then we go into our songs. Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
And then just have an outro. And if you want to do that going forward, you start the show saying what you want to say, and then do the intro, or you could
mix it up.
Yeah, cut the end part of the intro off.
Yeah.
And just play you're tuned into the song.
Yeah.
Just cut that little part, and then when you go into your commercial, you can play that.
The whole thing.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that idea a lot.
My goodness.
Commissioner, I have a question for you. So my show is a after dark morning show. I talk about current events and things going on in the community and stuff. But we're also advocates for the cannabis plant, and I like to bring as much substance information about it, other than just the pothead information about it, like the funny part of it. So I'm actually looking to try to get with Ted Ted Terry, Dekalb County.
Yeah.
I've contacted his people and they have responded back, but he hasn't set his actual interview yet. But just in a talking kind of way, what is the best way to get in contact with a politician to get them on the show to talk about, you know, the cannabis industry, what their community or what their platform is trying to do to change? Like, how would you say for somebody like me? Because they look at me and, you know, my show, it's only been on for 3 years. I'm not like a Breakfast Club or anything, but I say all the time, my constituents vote. We have opinions.
Absolutely.
And just because we smoke,
radio, it could reach people beyond.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
I would say that he probably wasn't reaching out to you for that, maybe his schedule or whatever. Like I was telling her, a lot of us do have a lot of jobs. Lorraine and Terry both are super districts in DeKalb County. So they have the largest district.
Big districts, yeah.
So they can have like 300,000 people in one district. You know, 30,000. No, it's like 300,000 right now, tell you. So they could be that point. But I do, this is funny you brought it up because my sister owns a nonprofit for the cannabis, for medical cannabis. And they always are put on various talk shows to talk about medical cannabis and how it's become legalized.
Right.
So we need some experts when I can forward you there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of politicians that probably would talk about it. I wouldn't say don't give up because there are some that will come out and speak, like we had Lorraine and so forth. It will come out.
Lorraine will definitely come out.
For
That will
cannabis?
speak on
cannabis
those
speaker?
various
Okay.
things.
Whether, I mean, I don't know what her position is on it.
Okay.
You know what I
That's
mean?
the other thing.
Yeah.
I just said that.
Right.
Every politician might not be.
Right, and of course I'm looking for politicians that
They're supporting it.
that are supporting
But it's good
it.
conversation though for the opposite side too.
Oh,
Just
definitely.
in case, you know.
Oh, definitely, because you come over here with me and I'm gonna be like,
Yeah.
let's make this make sense. Because I know too many people who will sit up there and drink a bottle of wine and go pick their kid up from school. But if another parent smokes a blunt or something and then goes pick their kid up from school and you can smell it on them, all of a sudden everybody is involved. But you just let this other kid leave with their parent driving drunk or whatever the situation. You know what I'm saying? I just use that.
Right.
But
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
The taboo of it is more of what makes it a bad thing compared to the actual plant. And so when I have people,
There's a lot of thought on that.
Yeah.
Because can't put it in a package and sell it and make it money. You know, the conversation around a lot of that is
And you
capitalism.
may not want to just reach out to the commissioners. You might want to reach out to the state reps because they are the ones going to pass it. There's a bill that's already in place, so you need to reach out. I can give you a couple of state reps that I'm cool with that they might come in and talk about it because they have to vote on it. So maybe reaching the local level, maybe go to the state level and have them talk about it and see what their view is because they got to vote for it.
yeah.
Yeah, they got to.
And I want to be more. Girl, get your phone off of there.
I thought you needed to hold the stand. I said okay.
I want to be taken seriously when it comes to that aspect, and I really just feel like, I mean, when I'm contacting a lot of these people, I'm not V103 or I'm not rest in peace Simon. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not a Ryan Cameron, so they look at it different.
I don't think that because internet radio has taken off. So it has taken off big time, especially during the pandemic and before that. Because now look at the regular radio stations; they all have a streaming piece because everybody's not listening to it in their car. People have, like for me, I have Sirius XM.
Absolutely.
So I'm not tuning in to the V103 all the time. I do eventually find some on Sirius XM doesn't please me, but I'm listening to my Spotify. All that's in my truck, so I don't have to listen to the radio. I don't have to listen to the commercials. So every station has a streaming component, even your television station.
That's it.
They're losing money for advertising because of internet radio and all of this. So I wouldn't put yourself down in that way to say you're not that specific station. They had to become you because they were losing people from listening.
And I can explain that, and I am like, you understand that, but I feel like some of the people that I contact, they don't. And I get kind of ghosted.
And I don't know what they're thinking at the moment or what their schedules may be. And that might not be the one God's sending you to put on your show. want.
Yeah.
Maybe
Right.
there's somebody else that can talk on the topic that might be more comfortable or may have the time. So I don't want to say that somebody's not answering to you just because they don't think that you're a certain type of radio station.
Alright.
So maybe, like I said, reach out to those state reps.
Okay.
And they will definitely come on. I can send you a name too. Let me ask her what her position is before I give you a name.
Okay.
but I have something I can send to you that might come on and talk about it and have no problem speaking about it.
All right, bet. I'm saying this. You did not hear me say this, but I'm saying this. Yes, you're supposed to be off by about 45
Okay.
ish, but there's no show after you. So if the conversation is good, I did not say that. Just
No, because like them, I got a job too. I got to go to work.
okay. Well, I said just when the conversation good, I like to say something. Okay, we're coming back in, and your mic gonna be.
When's the
hot.
next break? When's the next break?
The end of the show.
This is it.
Mhm.
Hello, and welcome back. I hope y'all enjoyed some of the grooves, and you are listening to the Sonja Gunter Show on Hits 92.3, the real definition of internet radio. And you have been listening to Miss Elena Sanders, the commissioner from Newton County, and Miss Lorraine Cochran-Johnson, commissioner of Dekalb County, District 7, Super District 7. And I have just been enjoying the conversation. Miss Lorraine Cochran-Johnson, are you still with us?
Absolutely.
Thank you, my lady. Thank you. Before we went to break, we were talking about the skepticism in the community. And I wanted to kind of move the conversation. We're talking about vaccinations and mandates and things being lifted and things of that nature. So Biden recently, I want to say it was today or a couple of days ago, put out in the news that he wanted that folks to go back to work. No more working remote. Let's go back to work. Let's get back in the buildings. The downtowns are empty. First, let's be honest. Atlanta never really shut down. Let's just tell the truth.
Yeah.
We never really shut down. We stayed home for maybe a week or two. But for the most part, I mean, if nothing else, I'm not even a clubber, but I know the clubs was popping. Like everybody was still going out. People were coming to Atlanta to party because nowhere else was open. So Atlanta was never one to shut down. And even Georgia was one of the first ones to open up, if I'm not mistaken. The official open up was done here in Atlanta and Georgia. So anyhow, I want to know your thoughts on going back to work remote. Is this a viable answer? One, and two, are we at a place now where people are like, you know what? I found out how to work from home. I have found a new niche in life. I've decided I don't like the commute. I've decided I don't want to go back to getting up and hitting the clock 9 to 5 in somebody's building all day, every day. Are we seeing something new in the trending in the community?
We're definitely seeing something new. I think when individuals have that time to sit at home and think about what they want to do, first they were thinking about family, safety, security, and then the job was next. A lot of people found different things they want to do as far as they want to go back to various jobs, and they felt that job probably wasn't valuable to them, or they found their niche, as you stated. They found something that they can do. You had a lot of people who started online businesses.
Entrepreneurs.
Very successful.
Yes.
I'm also in the fitness industry, and I have a lot of fitness individuals, friends, colleagues who said their business boomed online than working in the gym.
Wow.
Because they were able to reach people from all across the world. It became an international business. And then you have people who are saying, wait, do I really want to go back to this $9, $8 an hour job? Is it really worth it?
Right.
So that's why a lot of your restaurants are either shorthanded or they're closing because people have really rethought the various things. And there was some assistance that was provided. Not much, but some assistance to where it was like, it gave them the opportunity to say, okay, let me sit down, get my plan together.
Yes.
Get my business
Give
plan
me a little,
together.
let me get a little time.
I'm figuring this out now.
Yes.
Now I'm going to start that business I've been trying to do for so long because I've been going to that 9 to 5 and all I was thinking about making money, family, and I couldn't focus on what I want to do. So he gave them the opportunity to
sit down and be
and
quiet.
to do something else.
Yes, and take some of that money and invest. Say, you know what? I can put $100 toward paparazzi jewelry, whatever it was, and start my own business and boom, and take off from there. That's a good point. What are your thoughts, Ms. Lorraine?
Well, many people refer to the pandemic as the pandemic. Okay?
The pandemic. I like that. The pandemic. Yes.
It really gave people time to plan. And also, in many ways, what I've seen, because this is one of the things that I've helped constituents through here in DeKalb, is scaling up and reimagining their business as it was. Because the truth of the matter is, we will never go back to business as it was.
Right.
For many companies, the remote access and the digital platforms, as well as Zoom, has proven to be more productive than traveling to meetings, because you lose the travel time, and particularly in your major urban markets like Atlanta. So many companies are getting far more productivity out of people now than they did using the conventional method. They're also able to save money because people are working remotely. So whereas, I've done a few things in my life, I can remember the time when, I had a production facility and, you're paying $10,000 a month in rent. So a lot of that has been drastically reduced or eradicated for some companies if they like it. And, I can speak from a point of empirical knowledge here. I remember when the pandemic hit in my hand, she said, oh, Ray, I don't want to go back to retail. And we actually opened a family-owned restaurant in the city of Stonecrest. And I want to thank Elena, because she came by many times. Now, the one thing that we did, we mastered food. The food was incredible. But we were smart enough in starting, because this was in the middle of the pandemic. I believe those doors opened in August of 2020. And we were smart enough, and even, now, let me say to anyone that's listening, is a good time to have conversations with landlords. Because often you're in a better position to negotiate.
Yes.
Because there is such a need they have to fill empty spaces. So we opened in the middle of the pandemic. I believe it was August of 2020, and it was great. It was honestly overwhelming. We endured everything that a small business owner who's opening in a field that is non-traditional would experience. But what we saw, and this is something that we have to talk about too here today, is when we opened that business, it was called Annie's Crab Kingdom. We paid initially $543 for a 30-pound box of pin-up snow crab legs.
Okay.
1 year later, after the issue with the Suez Canal and ongoing supply chain issues for the same box of crab legs, we went from paying $543 to $730.
Yes.
So what many, small businesses saw was a major erosion of their revenue. So, you have to be smart with what you do. So we were able, when we opened the doors, out of an abundance of caution, to negotiate a 1-year ticket, depending upon what the market dictated and how we felt. So we were able to exercise that. So I encourage people, and one thing that I'll say, it was a great experience from the place really looked like Cheers. Everybody knew your name, but those food costs, in your crab house, you got to feel fresh.
That's it.
But have to plan carefully, but don't be fearful nor afraid. Another thing that I would also say is I would never be a part of another restaurant that didn't serve alcohol, because alcohol will often outweigh the selling.
Yes, it will. Yes.
And the cost there is not fluctuating like what you see in food costs. So
that's interesting.
But anyone out there listening, don't be fearful. Now is the time. There's no time like today.
Wow, that's good, and I know that that might be why the clubs and different things did so well, because the alcohol, and it's crazy because alcohol sales, the liquor store stayed open, and they were all considered what's it called? Essential. Absolutely, they were all considered essential. Which to me, that was bananas. But hey, whatever works for everybody, right? So I know we.
I'll also say that I did make an appropriation of $100,000 to a recovery and addiction center.
Nice.
But also, the pandemic brought out the underbelly of
Yes.
a lot of folks who indulge in it.
Yes, and that's
mental health and all that.
Absolutely. And that's something we will be discussing is mental health. And just not even just COVID, because pre-COVID we had mental health. I think the effects of COVID, there was a blessing to it, right? There was a piece of that we didn't get a chance to really focus on. Some people did, and that was the pandemic. People that were able to plan and become entrepreneurs and become successful and realize that, hey, there's more to this than the 9-to-5 rat race. That was a blessing. Those that had chance to really be still and be with family and really appreciate. You see more people now appreciating life and appreciating the simple things, not needing all the extras anymore, and taking in inventory of what's really, really important. And then also the effects, like you said, of mental health. It was always an issue. Opioid crisis was always an issue. But now we had the COVID pandemic, and it affected so many different people. You already know where I'm going with this conversation. So now the spotlight is on mental health, and now it's something that everybody wants to talk about. And I think it's so very necessary. We've needed to talk about this a long time ago, but that's a whole nother segment that I am going to have dealing with mental health more than once. We're going to be talking about that because it's so important. It affects our parenting. It affects our children. It affects our workplace. It affects relationships, domestic violence, everything that came out as a result of COVID, and then the spotlight hit it. Well, we're going to talk about that in another segment. I want to talk about staffing shortages. You mentioned about people going back to work or deciding not to go back to work, and I know firsthand as a nurse, the shortages in the hospitals and in the healthcare realm, period, are very real. I have another show coming up. We're talking about pivoting. As a nurse, I don't work as a nurse anymore. I decided that I no longer wanted to deal with COVID on that level. It was traumatizing to me when I lost my residents. It was tough on me when I had sick staff and having to figure out who's going to keep these doors open because the facility runs 24/7. I decided just this year I'm in sales and marketing and in the healthcare field, but I'm not clinical at all. I don't care to be clinical. I have the knowledge. I thank God for the knowledge, and I still do a little hospice on the side. But in terms of every day going to work and putting in those hours in a COVID setting are not for me. What's the answer for those in healthcare that are nurses? What can you tell them? What can you give them to hold on to in terms of, hang in there.
I think what we forget as the government, and I wouldn't just say the government as a people, we look at nurses as healthcare, you're constantly giving.
Constantly.
But where is the option for you all to be poured into?
Right.
Where is the counseling for you, the therapy once you go through all these various things? And there may be some hospitals that have that. But when you go home, you have to go from being a nurse.
Yes.
Then go deal with your family where you cannot even breathe.
Right.
So all of that weight is still on you. So what probably needs to happen at this moment, the funds that we're receiving, and some of the counties are doing that, pouring back into the hospital, but some of it needs to go to putting in care for the nurses.
That's it.
Because I do have friends who are nurses, but they're traveling nurses with COVID. They're loving it because they're making the dollars.
Hey, well, you can write your own check now, too.
They're making the money.
Yes, in nursing, you can write your own check.
I have a friend right now, she lives here, but she's in Los Angeles. Living her life and doing her nurse thing.
Yes.
And so some have actually progressed during this COVID time.
Right.
Their income has increased. But we do need to pour back, kind of like with our veterans. We always forget about them because of all those various things. They helped our country, they served our country, but where is the care once they come back? We see more veterans on the street as homeless than anything.
Absolutely.
So that what needs to happen is we need to take care of that piece of pouring back into our healthcare workers in a mental state, that we can have that encouragement of somebody encouraging you, because you're always giving us that bedside manner, but who's giving you the bedside?
Absolutely. I can appreciate that. Thank you.
I
can appreciate that. What you got, Miss Lorraine?
Well, as I sit here and think through the question, I consider myself to be a realist, and I know personally, early on, in particular in certain urban markets across the United States and major cities, and immediately my mind draws to New York. Because New York was pretty much the epicenter.
Yes, for sure.
Of the initial onslaught of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And the effects there were honestly paralyzing. And no one, healthcare workers had not experienced anything of that magnitude. And there was so little known about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That, you know, you may remember the faces and the images that came out of New York and other cities where literally we were turning 18-wheelers into cold storage for life.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And when I see things like that, in all honesty, you know, the first thing I'm concerned with is the individual.
Yes.
Because one thing, and I think too, you know, this morning this was a group of Black women who were speaking,
Mm-hmm.
who served in multiple roles.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we are so concerned with others that we have a lack of care for self first.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And before one can be of benefit to others, they have to first take care of themselves.
And let me add real quick to that, just to piggyback on care of self. I just want to say, ladies, that's not just getting your hair, nails, and toes done. I think we've gotten so used to. I'm a you know what I'm saying. I got my nails done. I took care of self. That's not self care. I just wanted to add that. Go ahead, Commissioner. Go ahead.
Yes, because you know where I'm going with this is, you know, and I know a lot of people. You know, I would read the comments. I have friends that are in the healthcare industry. My best friend, you know, it has her own medical practice. And they were honestly not in a good mental place. And, you know, so I'm not here to ask folks to do what they aren't in a mental state to do.
That's right.
But I do believe, so with that, I ask people to somewhere between Genesis and Revelation, that I myself be true. If you need to step back, then I need you to do it.
That's right.
Because at that time, perhaps there's someone else who could step forward, but no man can carry a load as heavy as many folks that I know tried to carry. And it had an effect on me. So, you know, I'm thankful now that you don't see what we saw in the beginning, because it creates a better environment for you. But nonetheless, you know, my first concern is for those who provide the care and making sure that they have the care they need, that they're not overwhelmed. I know that hours are getting better, but still, in many ICUs across the United States, there remains a drastic shortage. So my concern is just ensuring that they have access to the support that they need. You know, I learned a long time ago that, you know, not all money is good money.
That's it.
You know, so even with the rise now in the pay for healthcare workers, which is definitely important, there's some things that are priceless. So I just need anyone who's in that industry to step back and critically analyze where they are and just know that you can't do it alone.
Absolutely. It does. I've never felt the anxiety that I felt when I was going through that. And that was last year, in 2021, the springtime. And it is when it hit the fan. I lost my residence in January and February, but by April, I had enough. And I had told myself, as I came out the role that I was in, that I would not go back into that role. And I haven't. I have not, on a clinical side of things, or even for an executive director type of position where I had to make the decisions, and the buck stopped at my desk. And I consider myself an excellent leader. But when you're dealing with the mental health of it all, I'm no longer good, not only to the people around me, but to myself. And it was affecting my family, you know, where my husband would tell me, you know, I could make this amount of money, but it's not even worth it. Like Commissioner Lorraine just said, all money's not good money. And so you have to consider your paycheck versus your mental and what's most important. Because once your mental is gone, the paycheck is gone anyway, because you won't have the opportunity to continue working. You know what I mean? So I can appreciate all of that.
And Sonja, it's interesting that you were speaking on that, because think about it. When you get on an airplane, what is that stewardess?
Absolutely.
Before, if something happens,
Absolutely.
you put the mask on you first before you take care of somebody else.
Absolutely.
So what they're saying is, you have to take care of you before you can help somebody.
Absolutely.
So that's that whole analogy behind that. So I think a lot of people don't grasp that concept if they look at it in that way, that I cannot help you if I'm in my lack, if I'm not at my best.
That's it.
That I have to be at my best to be able to serve you.
That's it.
And even in my capacity, and that's why I'm not asking anyone to hold on. That is not the message you get from me. My message is to do what is necessary and best for you, because until you're at your best, I've been there in a few different stages in my life where you're doing too much.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And, being from Alabama, my mom would often say, weight broke the wagon down. Pressure will burst the piper.
Yep.
Okay? That's why we have so many folks, in particular in our community with high blood pressure and diabetes and all
Yes.
these other illnesses.
Yes.
Because stress and even myself, since coming in the office, I now have high blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly had to stop and evaluate myself. So if you're not where you need to be, how, honestly, be in tune enough with yourself to know it. And if you need to step back, then you do what's best for you.
That's right.
And you make a good point, because, of course, during the weeks coming, we are going to be talking about hypertension or high blood pressure, the sugar, as folks in the community call it, diabetes. I like to give it with the street version and then the correct term. So you learn something, but then I can also relate to the folks. So a lot of the illnesses that we deal with as a community, and not even just Black people, brown people, folks of poor economic status, if you just want to be real. And so that extends beyond demographics, right? And so we're talking about the food deserts and, the inability to eat correctly, or the stress of, how you're going to make the bills and ends meet. Those things, when your body is constantly at adrenaline and adrenaline's constantly running, that causes your blood pressure to be up. When you're constantly under a stress, a flight or fight type system inside your body, there's no way that you can be in a place of calm, a place of peace. So all those things are very important. I just want to wrap up with a last thought from Ms. Sanders first. What are your thoughts on healthcare just in general in your county, not even just COVID? And what are some things that you have on the agenda or that's being discussed in your county? And then Commissioner Cochran, I will have you follow up with an answer to that as well.
One of the things, and I want to go with the state first, that we need to provide better health care, affordable health care.
Affordable.
For our constituents or for our citizens here in our state, because we have a lot of individuals who have those issues because they cannot afford to go to the doctor. They cannot afford to receive the health care for their families. COVID did allow a lot of that leeway to be able to receive that assistance, but how long is that going to last?
Sure.
Is the question. In my county, I believe we need to move, like I stated earlier, we have to think a little bit bigger. We can't think rural anymore. We have citizens that are more in need. And the great thing with Biden administration has allowed us to receive those funds to help our citizens with various things, those who couldn't afford those things that they need. So I'm excited about that. So with us moving in a different direction in Newton County, thinking bigger, we can help our citizens, and also I thank our federal government for providing those funds to assist us.
Awesome. Good job. Commissioner Lorraine.
Yes, I would, when we start talking about what we can do as it relates to healthcare, it absolutely amazes me that we, being a civilized society, have not expanded Medicare and Medicaid.
Woo, that's a whole nother conversation. Yes, ma'am.
That's what I was meaning.
Yep.
We can't come together in the Georgia to do what is necessary and in the best interest, honestly, of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Universal health care is not something that should be remote to us.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that should be accessible.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to get those folks in Washington that represent us at the highest level to get these things done. And on the state level, you know, I look forward to the day we have a governor who understands truly the importance of the expansion of health care for all.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So, you know, if that is not something that's difficult, it's not a remote concept, it's just that we don't value people equally. And America has an issue with equity. And, you know, that's a different show.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Necessary. Necessary, but yes.
We have an issue with equity. And Medicaid expansion is something that should have been done long ago. We also need to look at the high and rising cost of health care coverage. It's as bad as student loans did in America. So I pay attention, real careful attention to the numbers. So what we have in America is a society who is more concerned with the treatment than the cure, because there's no benefit in the cure.
That's it.
This is economics, people. So once we understand that, and we start speaking truth to power, and we hold these elected officials at the highest level accountable, because little old me down here in Cochran County, I know it, but that ain't where I am. But, you know, I'm not up there in Congress and dealing with shit. And again, it's time we elect people who have the same values that we do, because society cannot advance and become a growing gap of the have and the have-not. And that is exactly what we're becoming in America.
That's right.
Wow. On that note, just to sum up the conversation, I want to thank, again, Commissioner Elena Sanders from Newton County, representing Commissioner Lorraine Cochran-Johnson, who said I can call her my friend, y'all. So that's my friend. She came on today from the commissioner from Dekalb County, District 7, Super District 7. Thank you for this conversation. I believe that this is just the beginning, but these conversations have to happen. The more that we talk about it, the more people become aware. People say education is the backbone of any society. I disagree. I think it is definitely healthcare. Without healthcare, you have absolutely nothing. If you're not healthy, you can't teach.
That's right.
If you're healthy, you can't speak. If you're unhealthy, you go down the gamut. Health is everything, and as we see, it can either cripple. It can cripple an economy, as it has done. COVID has shown us how important healthcare is in the economy and the world at large. Thank you for listening to the Sonja Gunter Show, where your business is my business and healthcare is our business. I will see you again next week. I know I promised you all 2 hours. This was my first show. I was kind of getting a feel for things. So I will see you next week again at 10 a.m. For our hour-long show. Thank you for listening. Make sure that you download the app, Hits 92.3, the real definition of internet radio, and you'll be able to catch this again on Facebook, Hits 92.3, Instagram, Hits 92.3, and soon to becoming the Sonja Gunter Show YouTube channel, where you can subscribe and watch the shows there. Thank you all. Love you much. And let's have this conversation. Have a good day.
Hi, I'm Roxy. I'm the Executive Director of Peachtree Villa in Swanee. We're also
Pick up the phone and you can say bye to her. They won't hear you, and then I'll hang up on her.
Dementia care, as well as have an opportunity to care for your loved ones.
Okay, thank you.
Our website at LordRiversSeniorLiving.com or by calling 678.
It did turn out well. The enemy's a liar. So I thank you so much for being on. All right. And I'm going to have you again. You know I am. You know I'm going to have you again. Absolutely. Take care. Have a good one. Okay, bye-bye. Now, when I have a guest on the phone, people can't call in. Okay. That's what I don't like, because I do want people to have a...
Get them off the line.
I mean, we don't have it right now, so.
Yeah.
Because I definitely want to have people be able to call in.
I used to have my internet radio station. I had something where I had everybody could call in, but it was like a what was that software?
Thank you all for supporting and listening. See you next week. Bye.
I'm an engineer.